Here. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for joining. In the next series of developer interviews I have for DROD, I have Maurycy, aka
Hello,
skell. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
That's good. So skell, as many of you know, is the brains behind Flash DROD, which was a kind of a smaller take on a free smaller take on King Dugan's Dungeon, but we'll kind of start off. Skell, how long have you been playing DROD, and how did you kind of discover the game?
So I had to look up my forum profile for that.
Mm-hmm.
According to it, I've joined in December 2004. I'm pretty sure I've started playing Drought around September 2004.
Okay.
Uh, there's a, I think, funny story behind that. Back then, I had a very slow internet connection. I've been visiting my friend, and
Mm-hmm.
we've been looking through the uh, and I've seen this really cool game. Yes, I was always a big fan of grid-based, turn-based games.
Mm-hmm.
And I downloaded the installer, had it burnt on the CD, but we were looking for more games. And at the end of the day, I went back to the game to download the installer once again because I so wanted to play this game that I had to make sure that it will work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it started for me. It was Drought Architects Edition, of course.
Yeah. All
And
all
yeah,
13 megabits. Yeah.
can you repeat?
Mm-hmm. So obviously, you're a fairly new join to the Caravel team. When did you kind of officially join it, and what is your role within the company?
I think I have joined it the moment the Flash DROD
Mm-hmm.
has been mostly done. It's um, there was a secret forum created for the development of Flash DROD, and
Yeah.
it was, I don't know, 2 years ago, something like that. And I would say that's when I've become a part of the Caravel team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so obviously Flash DROD is it was a huge thing, and I can't remember, was it revealed through an April Fool's Day joke? I can't remember. I think I
Can
think
you
you, I think you guys wanted it released on April Fool's, and it just wasn't quite there if I remember right. I'm trying to think back now. But anyways,
can you repeat? I didn't fully
um
understand.
I'm trying to remember how long ago it was that you released it. I think it was 3 years ago
It
now.
was, I think, 2 years or something,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
something between 2 or 3.
You know, saying I think if I remember right, you guys wanted to release on April Fool's Day, and you just weren't quite there, and you delayed
Yeah,
it a couple
yeah.
months. So the
It
good
was
old,
about a month or two.
yeah, good old April Fool's Day jokes around Caravel. So you've
Yeah,
developed a lot
yet
of,
another one.
yeah. So you've developed a lot of games. What kind of, maybe you talk a little bit about what other kind of games you've designed and developed, and if you have kind of a general philosophy or design that goes into them, or what kind of games you enjoy to make, I guess.
So I'll go very back in my history because my first contact with game development was when I was about 6 years old. My brothers had Commodore 64,
Okay.
and I absolutely did not understand the language. I I was doing some things, making some small animations, and that's when it's then came the Amiga 1200. Yeah,
Okay.
uh, there was a there was a game developing tool called Backbone. I've made a couple of games back then. Unfortunately, all of them were lost. Yeah. I've lost a lot of games
Yeah.
from this time. So my brothers also lost their creations. But anyway, my proper game development started in about 2004 with the games Factory, Multimedia Fusion, and Click and Play.
Okay.
Uh, I was really awful at what I was doing back then. The games I made were very shoddy quality.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a platformer which had only 5 levels, a survival space shooter uh, which was buggy, and like that.
Yeah.
And then I discovered Game Maker, and there I created with Cage, the guy who did, Alex, who did many of the new graphics for.
Yes.
We've made our first game together. It was called Links. It is a logical game where you need to connect bases of different color with paths which cannot cross.
Okay.
It was very popular, and that's the first good game I made,
Mm-hmm.
and it really from this game I decided that I want to make puzzle games. Most of the games I made were puzzle games.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of shooters, platformer shooters, and connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly I always went back to puzzle games. So my game design philosophy is I always try to make games which I personally enjoy to play.
Mm-hmm.
Something I wanted to make, not something for other people. I know that most of the time people tell you that if you make something you yourself enjoy, other people will like it. And I can tell you it's not true. Because many of the games I made were, for me, they were pretty good. I really enjoyed them, but they didn't really hit Flash games audience. Many players were unhappy with them, didn't like the retro graphics or something else.
Yeah.
For example, something which is not a puzzle game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's especially with the amount of Flash games and stuff like that. I could see
exactly.
that being
It's really difficult to get into the market.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
It's a bit skills and some luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I also think too, talking about designing games that you like too, you have a better idea of what you want and what needs to be done if it's a genre or a style of game that you like, as opposed to if it's something that you're trying to make something new and you're not really sure. So I can definitely agree with that. So let's go into Flash Draw. Let's maybe kind of start with the history behind it and how you decided on the size of the room and what all was going to be done.
Okay, so it all started back in, I don't know, 2008 or 2007. There was a thread, a topic on the Caravel forums about making Flash DROD.
Mm-hmm.
The idea behind this, that game, was to make a pretty much direct port of the Architects Edition to Flash. There was a lot of work done, and the engine was mostly working, but the project was abandoned at some point. And when I was looking at this game, I really wanted to make something like that myself. Experience, it's really difficult to make a game from the scratch. I think one of the problems with that previous Flash DROD was that everyone was doing some little things, but there was no proper direction where it should go. So I started with making sure that actually it's possible for some of the most of the slowest parts of the DROD, like they can work in Flash, because Flash is a really slow platform. It's about 10 or 20 times slower than C.
Mm-hmm.
I started with some path mapping. I have shown it to Mike. He said, "Okay, it looks fine. If you want to work on it, go on. Skip around half a year, and I had about half of the features implemented. There were many things that I've changed. Primarily the room size.
Yes.
In the original game, it is 37 by 35, I think, and in Flash DROD it's about 10 tiles less in both directions.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, 2 or 3 reasons for that. One was the need to make the game fast enough, because path mapping, I was really worried that the path mapping along with the undo will be really slow and the game will be unplayable.
Yeah.
So my early decision was to make it a little smaller. And then there was also the question of the game, of the screen, because back then, I see it's changing right now, but when I was starting to make Flash DROD, most of the Flash game websites really did not like games which were wider than, I think, 800 pixels.
Yeah.
So
That
I
makes
couldn't
sense.
make the game too big. I couldn't make it the same dimensions as the real DROD,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the reason for the smaller resolution.
Okay. Yeah, and it does,
Mm,
and it did fit in really well too. When you had, I guess I should ask, when you were designing room size and stuff like that, did you have the idea of doing Kane Dugan's dungeon from the start, or did you kind of design the room size and figure out everything would work, and then decide to shoehorn in KDD after the fact?
I didn't really put much thought into if it work with this room size. I don't really remember if my intention was to go with KDD from the very beginning. I think it was. I think my plan was to make a port of the Architects Edition with the smaller room size, and somewhere along the way, Mike allowed me to use the graphics from the full version of the game.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Because Kane Dugan's dungeon worked out really well. I mean, I remember playing through the first couple and realizing how well you were able to shrink the game down to fit the screen. So
I don't want to steal the credit from the people who actually did it. I've only done the first level or first
right,
2 levels, and the rest was done by Jacob, Larry. I think Slim Tom also helped.
yeah,
I don't remember all of
yeah. I'm
them
going
from my
through.
memory.
Yeah, I'm going through the forum and checking, and yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. But no,
Yeah,
they did a fantastic job of shrinking
they
it
did.
down and still feeling like
Yeah, not only it still feels like KDD, it's also improved. Many of the rooms are less annoying, better done, pretty much.
mm-hmm,
No, they improved the things that the community has learned in the past 10 years of code making.
exactly like Eric and Mike attested to in their interviews.
Yeah,
The the
exactly.
the way level design has changed within the past 10 years is really interesting to watch.
For example, the 13th, I hate this word, 13th level in Flash DROD.
Mm-hmm.
The remade one by, I think it was Jacob.
Yes. Yeah, he did a. That was a fantastic level.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's nice to, like I say too. I know Nuntar's re-releasing and doing challenges and stuff like that, but it was nice. Obviously, he's limited; you can't change the whole anything like that, and that's why I always
Yeah.
consider Flash DROD the real KDD remake. As in, if people could mess around with it a little bit and change stuff that people had issues with, that's the definitive version. And so I think
Thanks.
it'll be interesting to see how it finishes off. Because like I say, there's still a couple. I know there's a couple episodes left, so
Yeah, it's going really slow, the development, but we can talk about it later.
yeah, and of course too, with the new solid draw game being out, that kind of stole everyone's attention for a while. So, um, Was there anything inside of Flash DROD that you kind of wished you could have added or changed that, for various reasons, you weren't able to, or?
Hmm. Yeah, there were a couple of things. For example, I wanted to make it possible for the player to download the holds directly from the game and play it only in one engine. But unfortunately, the limitations of ActionScript make it impossible.
Yeah.
There would be memory leaks. The most important issue that I had that there was is that there's really awful sound management in ActionScript. The I had to do some hacks to actually be able to read the MP3 files in the hold file,
Okay.
and it's once you load them, it's impossible. At least I didn't find a way to remove them from memory. So someone loaded too many holds, the game would just crash.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago when I was making it. I'm pretty sure there were other things. For example, the rendering engine. I did a lot of things to optimize it, and I wish I could do more.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, there's one more thing. In the normal DROD, when you undo, the game makes snapshots from time to time, which make the undo a little bit faster. There's nothing like if you have a room and you do 10,000 moves and you hit undo, the game goes back to the first move and has to replay it from the very beginning.
Interesting.
And I'm pretty sure a couple of people had issues with the fact that the game was really slowing down doing an undo.
Mhm. That's interesting. Yeah, I thankfully don't think there are any majorly large move. There aren't any major large move rooms inside of KDD at the very least. So.
No. Yeah, true. There,
And,
there
and,
are
and
not many, at least not until level 25.
I was about to say, I know exactly what room I'm thinking of, and that will be interesting to see people undoing on that. So I guess speaking of going into level 25 and talking about stuff like that, do you want to talk a little bit about what you have planned for the last couple episodes? I'm sure a lot of people are curious about what you want to do with level 25, at least at this point in time.
Yeah, I can tell you about the episodes 5 and 6 and another special episode and what I've been thinking about what to do next.
Mm-hmm.
So right now the 5th episode is the hold file is mostly done. The levels are pretty much finished. I still need to code the achievements, make everything is working okay, and export the texts, send them to translators, wait for them to translate the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be done. It's, I don't know, for me it's maybe 2 or 3 more days of work. So once I decide I want to continue working on KDD5, it won't take too long. It won't take too long to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a problem with 6 because it will have levels from 21st to 25th, including, so there will be the nether
Yep.
how's it? Nether
Yeah.
nether level.
Yeah, neither.
Neither. Okay.
Right.
Neither level. And I can spoil you that we're hoping to do it using the scripting engine
Yeah.
with a little tweaks from the
Mm-hmm.
and that is going to take some time to do.
It is, yeah. I know, I think Robin had started a little bit based on
Yeah,
TF
yeah. Just want to
Murphy's
say
original
that
scripting.
I think he based his work on the hold release by TF Murphy, was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, TF Murphy did a rework of the Nethercode engine. Robin based his work on it, and he has done. It's not finished, but
Mm-hmm.
he has done a really terrific work on that.
He has, yes. So I think people will be really excited for those last two.
Yeah, and once KDDL 5 is released, there is one more special hold, which is, I won't spoil you which exactly hold it is. Jacob remade his I think hold into Flash DROD engine, and once all KDD episodes are released, I will get myself to release that one.
Yeah, I'm looking at the thread right now. I think people will be really excited for it.
Yeah,
So,
really well done.
So I guess finally, now we've kind of wrapped up Flash DROD a little bit. You did do a little bit of work in TSS, as well as you're helping shake out with a lot of stuff on the forums, by my understanding. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, no problem. If you have any specific questions, if not, I can just rant on and wait
Go
for
for
you
it.
to get bored.
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm not bored.
Okay. So I didn't really do much work on the TSS. I've helped with few features, including some scripting. I have this really ambitious project at the very beginning of the development. I wanted to make it possible to change the room size for a given level. So you could make a level which had rooms smaller than the usual. Did most of that. It was more or less working, but we have decided that it's more work than it is worth. So it was scrapped and removed altogether from the game. I have helped a little with the Gentry Eye. At some point, Mike decided that he wanted to add this monster to the game, and he uploaded these with notes about how the Gentry Eye will move, and I've implemented a prototype in Flash. And together with Mike, we had 5 or 6 iterations of this prototype, improving the, let's say, physics of this monster. And I think many of the decisions that were made that made their way to the actual game. Okay. So I'm pretty proud of how I helped him with that. But I've also been working with Matt with some CaravelNet features. The cloud, yeah. I was supposed to help him with the cloud. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a common language to make it work. So in the end, it's all Matt's work. I've only talked with him, to tell him when he's wrong. And I think that's pretty much all I did for the TSS.
Okay. But still, it's I'm sure it's nice for Shit to have someone else to help out with stuff, because like I say, he's been a one-man show for a while, and he does a fantastic job, but everyone needs help once in a while, so.
He's a great guy.
He is, yeah. And I guess for people who don't know, because I guess most people don't, we were hoping to get Skell and Shit together, but time zones and work schedules are hard to combine together when it's a 8-hour time difference between people, so. But we will get him on. So I guess final question that I have for you, have you started playing the second Sky, and if so, how far are you?
Yes, I've started playing TSS, I think 2 days before it was released, since I had the access to the beta version, because I couldn't really wait. I just wanted to play this game so much. I couldn't stop myself. I mean, waiting for not playing it, but 2 days before the release, I just snapped and okay, I have to say it was awesome. When I started playing TSS, I felt like I was playing the Architects Edition for the first time. It was like the first time I played the game, the series. Yeah. It was awesome. I can't express how I enjoyed that.
Hmm. No, it really turned out to be a fantastic job.
Yeah. And how far I am, I've completed the game. I have, but I have not mastered it, and I'm not planning to do that anytime soon because some of the rooms are just too difficult for me.
Oh, they are. I'm working on all the secret rooms now, and I'm starting to have great fun with those. So it'll be a while before I master too. So okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to open it up to questions if anyone has any.
I just wanted to say I'm very proud of myself because I'm a person when I'm this kind of drop player who, if I cannot solve a room by myself in 2 or 3 minutes, I just go visit the hints and solution board.
Oh, fair enough.
But with the TSS, there was no hints and solutions board, so I had to force myself to actually do almost all of them myself.
Yeah,
So it's, I think, one of the only holds I've sent without any help.
yeah. I'll say streaming for me helped me not. It removed a lot of temptation to check the hints and solution board because I mean, it's one of those things I could pretend I have issues and then secretly take a look in my browser and be like, oh, that's how to do it, and then magically solve it and look like a
Yeah.
very weird person. But it's like, no, I'll try and just act out everything that I can try. And I think I think not checking hints and solutions does make you a better player, and when you have to kind of force yourself to figure out the solution on your own.
I think I'm losing you.
Oh,
Okay, I hear you now.
okay. There's a Skype. But yeah, I think having to force yourself to not check, and I also think adding in greater than one undo helped a little bit too, because I think it encouraged people to try things that they wouldn't normally try, knowing that they could just go back a couple steps and replay
Yeah, I
it. So
don't want to go too deep into unlimited undo because I've decided that I will not talk about this because
fair enough.
I've expressed my opinion. That I personally really enjoy that, and it has dramatically improved my experience of the game.
Hmm.
That's
I'll
my feeling about
yeah,
the.
I'll agree with you 100% too. So Nuntar asks, how did you decide to use for each level? I believe you did two styles per per chapter, I
Episode.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, per episode.
yeah. I think I went with what felt best for me, depending on the style of the mood of the level.
Hmm.
Completely not thinking about the style of the. No, the first level is the entrance, so it should look something like this and or that. Plus, I was looking at the styles used in the KDD2,
Yeah.
and somehow magically I've decided that okay, this episode gets these styles, this one gets these styles.
Hmm.
I've only used two to limit the size of the game,
Yeah.
because again, the KDDL is each episode is somewhere between 6 and back then it was a lot. Many
Hmm.
websites did not like having a game which is more than 10 megabytes. It has changed a lot since that.
Yeah.
That's the primary. Uh, and I've been implementing the styles alternating to make it less boring.
Hmm.
It's more engaging in my opinion to have a different style when you, especially in a game where there are only two styles.
Yeah, and it's I yeah I agree too. And there was I will say too, like always playing through KDD, there are always some styles that just felt right with the level. I believe you used ice where it's on level 6, which I mean that's kind of ice is carried through on that level and just
Yeah,
kind of feels right with it. Um, and yeah, like first level will always kind of be that foundation, and that matches up with like the classic KDD too, and um, yeah. Noah asked, how did you decide which music to use for each episode? I think that goes in with the room styles.
yeah, it's Yeah, the same. I used the musics from the room styles, and because I was not able to, um, I didn't want to make the file size too big. I've just limited myself as much as I could.
Yeah. Eslo asks, any ideas for what you might do next after you are completely done with Flash DROD?
Mobile DROD.
That's been in talks for a while and no one's done it. And if there's anyone who could do it still, it would be you. So
Yeah, I've actually wanted to talk about a mobile DROD with Mike at some point, but then got greenlit, and I've started my own project, so
mhm.
it's only an idea I've thrown in the space and it's waiting.
Yeah,
But generally, I would really like to make a mobile version, or a version of DROD which works on all platforms.
yeah,
But it would not be the same game as the good
no.
old DROD. It would be the same gameplay,
Hmm.
different.
I think there are a lot of interesting things you could do with DROD as a concept going into mobile. And yeah, I don't think it's necessarily take the game and put it on a phone. I think there's a lot of stuff you have to account for and make it
Yes.
work. So that'd be very interesting to see. And like I say, still, if there's anyone who could pull it off, it would be you. So okay, I think with that, I'll let you go. Larry Mark also says, awesome job on Flash DROD. I think everyone else agreed with that. So you did a fantastic job on that. We definitely look forward to seeing episode 5. I know I've played it. I think gave you a couple of achievement ideas for it. So
Yeah, I think you did.
yeah, I will be looking forward to seeing that completed. Otherwise, like I say, thanks again for coming out. Um,
Thank you too.
Great to talk
It
to you.
was it was it was really fun.
Hmm. Your English is not as bad as you think it is, so
No, I really like speaking English. It's just that I have no way to
no,
train it.
yeah.
There's no one in my around with whom I could talk in English.
Hmm. So it's always good to do that, yeah. And the best way to learn a language is to get immersed in it. So okay, so once again, thanks everyone for coming out and watching. I will be back with another interview. I don't know who. I think Jacob is next on the list, but otherwise, you guys take care. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you later.